Okay.
Actually, the name of it. I need to take a picture. I get a big order. Those standards are. And the working starts pink, okay, I see red, yeah, red is gonna look pretty good, but dark pink, yeah. Not necessarily. I know. We had Jane over. Actually, the Zoom and we're doing corn on the cob on the market. And there's 8 of them. Just put one or I can take this oh yeah. We're doing everything. But it's going to be awesome.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first C.A.U.S.E Elliott Lake Candidates Night for the 2022 municipal elections. My name is Olivia DePenser, and I'm just one face of C.A.U.S.E here tonight. But I am very excited to share with you a little bit more about the C.A.U.S.E movement. C.A.U.S.E stands for Citizens Advocating for a United and Sustainable Elliott Lake. C.A.U.S.E is not an entity, but rather a citizen collaborative of ideas, education, problem solving, and advocacy, which is building a bridge between the public and all governing bodies. I would like to take a moment to thank all of the candidates who are participating this evening and in our next 2 upcoming events. Your time is in high demand these days, so I'm very grateful to have you all here. A big thank you to the current members of the C.A.U.S.E Facebook group who have contributed through dialogue, questions, and spreading the word of this event. Literally, there is no cause without all of you. Thank you to Brent Slayholm from ElliottLakeToday.com. He will be covering tonight's event as well as the other two. We are live streaming currently straight onto the C.A.U.S.E Facebook page, so you will be able to reference that again, as well as the next two events. I'd like to thank Alice Forrest for helping me with all of this tech and getting that live stream up and running. Thank you also this evening to Susan Anderson, who will be our timekeeper for tonight. Finally, a big thank you to the staff and volunteers here at Grace Christian Center for freeing up your time and allowing us to rent this space and have this event, which is so important to our community. A few housekeeping items before we begin. I do ask that you remain seated while the candidates are speaking. If you do have to get up, I kindly ask that you do so between candidates, and if you could, please use the side doors to head to the washrooms. In reverse, when you're coming back, just have a listen before you come back in. Make sure no one is speaking at that time. Water is the only beverage allowed to be consumed in here this evening, and there is extra over here if you need one. Please take your bottles with you when you leave. We are trying to have a low contact event, so I kindly ask at the end of the evening if you can bring your conversations outside, and while you're outside, please don't smoke in the parking lot. Without further ado, let us begin our candidate introductions. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves and speak on their platform initiatives, and hopefully a little bit with tonight's theme, which is future considerations for Gen X, Y, and Z, and how it applies to Elliott Lake. Following this introduction period, the candidates will be asked the top questions which have been submitted and voted upon in the C.A.U.S.E Facebook page. If there are no needs to leave or get comfortable, I think we should begin. Our first speaker this evening is a mayoral candidate. Please welcome to the stage Geraldine Robinson.
Geraldine, take this mic. Oh, sorry. I'm Geraldine Robinson. I have been a resident for Elliott Lake for 8 years. I have participated in, I have been past president of the hospital auxiliary. I was director of the food bank. I'm a director of Diversity Canada. I am a warden of the Anglican Church. I also volunteer at St. Vincent de Paul. I am the book lady. So my experience has been that I was a counselor in Beckwith. I was the first woman counselor in Beckwith. I served for 2 terms. During that time, I was the chair of the Economic Development Committee. I was also on Valley Heartland, which is the same as ELNOS. I have also been the provincial rep for economic development. I have also been on the roads committee, finance and planning committees of Beckwith. So I'm well aware of provincial and county and municipal problems when it comes to development. I'm a graduate of the University of Manitoba. I have a BA. I was a member of the Armed Forces for 23 years. I retired as a sergeant. That is, I'm interested in Elliott Lake. I'd like to return it to its, the past. It was a vibrant, exciting city. I would like to take steps to return it to that vibrant, exciting city that I hear about. I think we should be open for business, and I think we should be transparent. The council should be transparent. I despise closed meetings. I see no reason for them. I know I talked and the mayor gave me an answer, and Mr. Turner said they'd be sued. Well, I would like to know what they're talking about, that they have to be sued when it's municipal politics. I would like to talk to anybody later, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Geraldine. Our next mayoral candidate, Mike Thomas.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name, of course, is Mike Thomas. A lot of you in the room have seen me before. I hadn't intended on running for mayor. A lot of you know that I've participated in council meetings, committees, and tried to inform the public as much as possible on the social media site Facebook, how to participate, how to be informed, and how to play a part as a citizen in municipal government. I'm not going to go through the litany of my experience, but most of it involves working with all three levels of government, working for corporations, helping people and citizens do better. What I'd like to accomplish is the microphone. Sounds fine. There we go. Come on, Nate. Tom says I talk a lot, but I need a mic. We good? It's back. Sorry about that. So, the basic premise of why we're all here and why I'm standing before you is that, sure, we've had a hard time for the last 2.5 years for COVID. We're all a little bit more out of line. Prior to those 2.5 years, an exercise was committed by our municipal government that said, we don't want you asking questions anymore. They changed the procedural bylaw so that that could not happen. I was opposed to that. I'm opposed to that now. The first thing I said in my platform that you may read is that's the first thing I'll change. Because the heart of our government is us. In the Municipal Act, there's a section that says each and every one of you is a part of the body corporate. And for us to thrive as a community, everyone needs to have a voice in how that operates. I won't promise you that I'll do a bunch of things or bring a float parade to the city, but what I would pledge to do is I would listen to folks who are in agreement and in opposition and consider it wisely. And I think that's what we've been missing. There's too much argument, there's too much dissent without respect, and I believe we can restore that. And I think all of you are charged with as much of that responsibility as you would place on me. I can only do so much as the mayor, but if you don't tell me, and I don't listen, and we don't work together, it's never going to happen. And many of these faces in the room have seen the 80s. We're going there again. High inflation, high interest rates. And I've been told that's all the time I have. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for attending. And for everybody on Facebook, thank you for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Our first council candidate is incumbent councillor Tom Turner.
Evening. I don't usually get to go first. My name is Tom Turner. Been a councillor for the last 4 years. I've been involved in city politics through committees and volunteerism for the last 25 or 30. I don't believe that the sky is falling, and that LA Lake is going there in a handbasket real fast. I have a lot of faith in the community. I believe in the people of the community, and I believe there's a huge number of quiet voices back there patiently waiting to see things happen, and also appreciating what has happened. A number of things that I support are parks, I support the arts, I support recreation and sports. They all create what I call people places, and I'll speak to that later. These are the things that make our city attractive. Attraction is what will bring us other businesses. When people come in here from out of town, they look and say, can I bring my business here? Well, that's easy. We have the internet, we have trucks, we have roads, we have planes. Will my family like it here? Will they enjoy living in this community? The answer has to be yes, and we have to make our community as attractive as possible in order to get a yes from those families. That will bring us businesses. We're not looking for giant Ford plants here. We're looking for small to medium-sized businesses. The ones that employ 5 people or 3 people, grow to 10 people, possibly end up at 20 people. These are the ones that we want. These are the ones that will supply us with jobs. And these are the ones that will use our facilities and make this a vibrant and profitable community to live in. I believe in the people of Elliott Lake. I have confidence that people in the community understand the effort that we need to put in to supporting the community through volunteerism, through participation in whatever projects are going on. I join you in that. I have through my whole life here. And I look forward to the future doing it even further in the company of people like yourselves. So, thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, Tom. Our next council candidate is incumbent Councillor Norman Mann.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to our moderator and fellow candidates. Elliott Lake is my home, past, present, and future. My name is Norman Mann, and I'm not only asking you for your support again this October, but more importantly, I'm asking for your vote for re-election as a councillor for the city of Elliott Lake. It's been an honor and a privilege to have served this community for the past 12 years. I don't take your support for granted, and I'm not taking it for granted now. Elliott Lake has always been a great community, which is why each and every one of us has chosen to be here. Is Elliott Lake perfect? No, it's not. No community is. Our roads need repair, our facilities are aging, our retail is not what it used to be. But there has been progress. When elected, you realize change takes time, sometimes a very painful amount of time. You also realize as a councillor that you can't really promise anything specific. Why? Because you only have one vote. You're part of a team, and no one individual on that team can decide what happens in the community. Outside my city responsibilities, I'm just Norm. I have an honors degree in business administration from the University of Windsor. I I've worked at Huron Lodge for the past 29 years and have been their CEO since 2016. I'm Carol's son, Victoria's husband, a father, and most recently, a grandfather to 2 new residents of Elliott Lake. My reason for running remains the same. I want to ensure that Elliott Lake remains a real option for my children to return to after their post-secondary educations, find a career, and raise their own families. Tonight we've been asked to focus on what's important to Gen X, Y, and Z, those aged 12 to 58. My family actually represents these groups and currently ranges from 17 to 52. So I asked them, what's important to you? They told me, safe community, shopping, because not everyone can leave town when they need to purchase essentials, entertainment, year-round recreation and access to parks and trails, affordable housing, fair property taxes, clean drinking water, and childcare, and also professional healthcare services, both scheduled and when emergencies arise, and jobs, or better yet, careers. And that's only part of my list. The only promise that I will make to you tonight is I will continue to make sound judgments in the best interest of this community. On October 24th, I ask for your vote. Vote for Norman Mann. Thank you. C.A.U.S.E. Good wish.
Thank you, Norman. Our next council candidate is Bruce Ibbotson.
Thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Bruce Ibbotson. First, a few thank yous. I want to thank you, Olivia, for organizing tonight and for bringing on the C.A.U.S.E platform, something positive instead of negative feedback all the time. I also want to thank the outgoing council for the past 4 years of service. Sometimes a tumultuous service, but nonetheless 4 years of service. And lastly, thank my fellow candidates for taking an interest in our election. I don't know if you really know what you're getting yourselves into, but thank you. Now about me, again, Bruce Ibbotson. I live here in Elliott Lake with my wife Sandy. You may know Sandy as the driving instructor, the health and safety person, the first aider. She has lived here since 10 years, and myself since 2014. We purchased our home in 2016 and we're married that same year. We are dog lovers, full disclosure, and true transparency, we have a cat named Fred. Give me that look there, sorry. So we've met many new friends and acquaintances since we moved to Elliott Lake, and that's essentially why I'm running for council. I want to move Elliott Lake forward. We are true Elliott Lakers, and we're very, very proud of it. My qualifications are in a pamphlet, a little handout outside, so if you want a copy, here they are. And there's also a brochure of my past history, qualifications, etc. Education, I was graduated from C.A.U.S.E College in the Mechanical Technology program. I have a teaching degree from the University of Toronto, and I have a multitude of project management courses and health and safety courses. Qualifications, I have 25 years plus in project management and facility management. This is entailed but not limited to contract management, government agency interactions, engineering, design, and admin. And probably the most important and most relevant to this position, I was a 3-term counselor for the Township of St. Joseph. And during those 12 years, I sat on every committee known to man, I think. HR, roads, waste disposal, small communities, volunteering is the heartbeat of the community, And that is also true in here in Elliott Lake. And I consider volunteering a qualification. Work experience, again in the handout. I've held several positions over the years in several different organizations, and I'm running out of time. From the mining industry to steel industry to the public sector. And it was not always because I couldn't hold a job, it was because I wanted to improve my lot in life. I will explain my platform more when I have a chance to answer the questions. As always, I have many more notes to add, but we can talk. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Bruce. Our next council candidate is Tammy Brown.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour, Annie. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, Liv, and thank you, everybody here, for allowing us to come speak with you. My name is Tammy Brown, and I am running for one of the 6 council positions here in Elliott Lake for the 2022 municipal election. I moved to Elliott Lake at 13, and I've been here for 35 years. Don't do math, okay? I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, a sister, and a friend. I see so much beauty in Elliott Lake. In the past 4 years, we have witnessed great achievements, and we have witnessed some disappointments. But now is the time to start new. We need to focus on the future, not the past. We need to focus on infrastructure and affordable housing. These will need to be gradual changes if they're going to be sustainable. We can't do it all in one day. We need to ensure maintenance, starting with a full review of the infrastructure department in Elliott Lake. We need a plan in place. Number 1, we need to establish goals. We need to identify the problems, and then we need a solution for those. What do thriving communities in Canada have when we look at them? They are built around lakes and rivers. They have tourism that feeds off the arts, the sports, the culture. These are attributes that our community does have. But the fact that we are moving into a new generation, and we need to attract all ages and demographics without compromising the beautiful serenity of Elliott Lake. We can no longer market Elliott Lake as just a retirement community, but let's market it as a lifestyle community. A community that boasts beautiful lakes and million-dollar views. This community deserves a council and a mayor that are A, mission-focused, B, lead with integrity, C, that are versatile, and D, are very, very transparent, because we've had some issues with that. I will never make false promises, but I can make a promise to you guys tonight. I will listen, I will learn, and I will lead. I will do my very best for our community, and I want to thank you for your time for today.
Thank you, Tammy. Our next council candidate is Rick Bull.
Close. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Is it working? Oh. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Bull. First off, I'd like to thank Liv DePensier and the Grace Christian for having this event and to the candidates participating. My parents moved our family here back in 1967. My father worked in the mines until they closed. My mom worked at the Hudson's Bay. That's going way back. There were a lot of boarded up houses at the time, but a boom was on the way. I've been married for 36 years to my beautiful wife Monica, and I have a son and daughter and a total of 4 grandchildren, and they all live in this beautiful city. I worked for the taxpayers as a city employee for 40 years at the arena, parks, and public works. I have a very good knowledge of the workings of these departments and how the city operates overall. My interest peaked in politics when I saw how the summer day camp issue was handled, how the autistic playground issue was handled, and the possibility of the sale of the golf course. It seemed to me that council was out of touch with the people of our community. I felt that being here so long, I could contribute to the city with my knowledge of the workings of the city and being in touch with many citizens. I watched the recent council meeting and was dismayed when I heard words like stupid and useless being used. To me, council should be a forum for good debate and everyone have a respect for each other.
Yes.
So far, I believe nearly $360,000 has been spent on integrity commissioner issues, and it's still not over yet. Imagine what that money could have went to.
Summer programs.
I know we need a new art center and an arena. A walk-in clinic is something we can work towards, and I've noticed that they're on Facebook that 2 more medical professionals have started up in Elliott Lake. That's good news. We need a return to the summer day camp to help the people that are working, something for the children to do outside. Roads and infrastructure upgrades. If the road is heaving or sinking, something is failing underground. The generations X, Y, and Z are growing in our community, and as Norm mentioned, from ages 8 to 56. These generations have different priorities, and we need to accommodate their interests to keep them in our beautiful city. The one thing I think they have in common is the use of our outdoor facilities. From playing mixed flow pitch to t-ball and soccer, to enjoying our parks and open spaces, using our playgrounds, our trails, our beaches, and even the outdoor rinks. They are people, many with families, that need these facilities. We need everyone to make Elliott Lake home and make it prosper. And all the areas I mentioned can be improved, and I will work towards that goal. I have a Facebook page that you can visit, and I'll be sending out my brochure through a graphics company that'll be mailed to everybody. So, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Our next council candidate is Gary Kirk.
Thank you for coming out tonight, folks. My name is Gary Kirk. Liv, you and your group, great job. One of the failures that I have seen since I've lived here, which is all of just short of 3 years, I've been in and out of this town for 55 years for family. Transparency, communication. These are things you learn to do in business. I have run public companies, I've run private companies. I've been self-employed, had my own horse farm. I had customers, I had clients. Every one of them had to learn to trust me. In order to do that, I had to communicate effectively with them. So the failures that you're talking about in the past short while, I think 60 or 70% of it has to do with simple failures of communication. That'll be again one. If you know what's going on, you're a happier camper. Comes to working out things for the younger generation. Yeah, Elliott Lake has come through the retirement destination. That mandate has been fulfilled. Now it's time to take a good look around at what we have, engage with the people who know what the heck is going on for their particular age group, and try as much as possible to cater to it. You have to do it without raising taxes through the roof. You have to find new ways. These are things that I do well. I am focused on getting things done appropriately. We go through, we want the city to grow. How are we going to grow if we don't have new and affordable housing? How are we going to grow if we don't have something as simple and as basic as a medical center of some sort apart from a cyber doctor? I have had my health challenges. I'm not yet 65, close. But I've had heart, I've had diabetes type 2. These medical conditions require a strategy. Me talking to a doctor for the first time, there is no way I've got a long-term strategy happening. I've got to know somebody who knows what I am, who I am, how I live, all that sort of thing. And you do that through some continuity. No council member, no mayor can sit here and tell you, well, this is what we're going to do for, to create a medical center. They have to engage with the hospital. Yes, we get the good news things about people coming to town. That's great. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. There needs to be engagement from the city to the hospital in order to figure out what's possible. Promises are just empty until you get that happening. I mean, this is just basic concepts. You get there by communicating back and forth. The thing with the golf course. That was a council that shot themselves in the foot, completely out of step with what was needed by the community, or wanted by the community. Whether you can make a case for it or not, it was approached the wrong way. That's what made up my mind that I would raise my hand, simple old guy, retired, with some skills. I'll raise my hand and say, you know what, I can help. And that's all it comes down to. We help each other within the community, we do things appropriately, and away we go. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jerry. Our next council candidate is Tammy Van Roon.
Really? Is the shortest? Yeah. After the tallest? Bring her down. Sweetie, do it.
Okay, how's that? Thanks, Alice. My name is Tammy Van Roon. My name is still Tammy Van Roon. 24 years ago, my husband and I chose to raise our 2 sons here to be close to our families. I'm self-employed as a real estate broker and actively involved in our community, having volunteered my time over the years for various groups and organizations, including C.A.U.S.E, the Legion, the 696 Air Cadet Squadron, and more. My proven leadership and experience as a former city councillor here in Elliott Lake will be extremely beneficial to the new council, which will see at least 3 new members. I have strong decision-making and problem-solving skills. I'm detail-oriented and ask for help and support when I'm unsure. I ask questions for clarity and understanding. To be effective, council relies on an efficient team to drive success. I am one of those team players, given my reputation as a committed, approachable, and flexible thinker. I respectfully consider the viewpoints and ideas of others, supporting an environment that encourages creative thinking. As a critical thinker, I research topics to ensure I'm prepared to analyze, debate, and most importantly, vote. Council is process-driven. I examine potential factors, barriers, and considerations before moving forward. I'm committed to make our community a better place to live. I've been asked to speak about generations X, Y, and Z in our community. Ironically, in my home, I have all 3 generations living under my roof. And as any local realtor can tell you, there has been a significant increase in the number of young people coming to or returning to Elliott Lake to raise their families. From my own experience, having moved here at just 25 years old, with a 2-week-old baby and a 5-year-old son, I found it difficult, and quite honestly, lonesome. especially with my husband being away 50% of the time working. I'd like to see more social engagements available for younger families, such as parent peer groups and quality events for us to enjoy, like dances. If I am elected, I will loyally serve the city and the needs of its people with honesty and integrity. Some of the top priorities are financial responsibility, maintaining affordability, local business, population retention, tourism, arts and culture, our infrastructure, and building confidence through openness and community involvement. If you trust me with your vote this October, you'll get a city councilor ready to hit the ground running and get things done for Elliott Lake. Please visit my website at tammyvanroon.com to learn more or to contact me. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out tonight, and to Alice, Olivia, and Dee.
Thank you, Tammy. Our final council candidate of the evening is Helen Levi.
Yeah, bring it on. Good evening, everyone. My name is Helen Levi. Not too close.
And I want to thank Olivia for organizing all of this and all the candidates as well. So I am a proud mother of 5 adult children with my partner Michelle. I am fluent in English and French, and my maiden name growing up was Plamondon. My father was a miner here for over 30 years. I was raised in Elliott Lake, and I left at the age of 19 to attend Queen's University. I was in senior management in Toronto for over 25 years. I worked at the expansion of the Toronto Pearson Airport for over 6 years. It was dubbed the second largest construction project in Canadian history. I was responsible for over $80 million in budgets. I had over 1,000 people reporting to me directly and indirectly. I worked on the electronic health record across Canada for over 10 years with government officials, the private sector, and the healthcare sector. We returned to Elliott Lake over 5 years ago to care for my aging mother. We were the past owners of your dollar store with more in the Paris Plaza. Simply put, I get things done. I believe in under-promise and over-deliver. My motto is rather than complain about it, be part of the solution. I'm honest, a team player, I am transparent, I have no hidden agenda. I make decisions based on facts to deliver the biggest benefits. Elliott Lake needs a strategic plan for the next 4 years that prioritizes what's important for this community and a commitment to get it done. That plan needs to include Generation X, Y, and Z. I'm currently employed by the Association for the Faculties of Medicine of Canada, and I have a voice now at the national level. I am challenging the undergraduate deans across the 17 medical schools across Canada on what they are doing to improve incentives for students to start doing their rotations in rural areas. The pilot projects so far have proven successful. I honestly believe that one area we must capitalize on is students. We currently have a resident and a student here. What are we doing to roll out the red carpet as a community to get them involved, to make it feel like it's home for them, so when they do finish their studies here, they will want to return. These are our future doctors. We need to ensure that we're also taking care of the health providers that we do have in our community. They're burning out. We are seeing at a national level an increase in healthcare providers that are leaving their profession. It's alarming. I could go on about other ideas, but my time here is restricted. In closing, now more than ever, we need you to speak out on what's important to you. What are the priorities that we must tackle? And where do we invest our money so we get the biggest benefits? Every voice matters. This October, a vote for me is my promise to you that I will do everything in my capacity to get things done. Thank you for your time.
by the members of the C.A.U.S.E Facebook page. If time allows, we will draw questions from the floor and from our live stream interactions. A reminder to candidates, you have 1 minute to answer once your name is called, or you may choose to pass by simply raising your hand to decline. Susan will indicate when you have 20 seconds remaining in your minute. Our first question is, what is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Our first answer will come from Geraldine.
Thank you. The main thing is to improve the infrastructure of the city. Roads need to be upgraded, sewers need to be repaired. After 2 building collapse, council must be hyper vigilant in ensuring that the facilities are safe and the structure is sound. Thank you.
Same question. What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Mike Thomas.
Thank you, Olivia. The one thing that I would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and to work is what I stated on my platform. I'd restructure the way the committees are formed, run, and organized to give the public as much feedback as possible and engagement in the process. Because without the public's consent, advice, and input, we can't move forward. And I wish all of you much to participate in the future of our city as much as you ask us to make the decisions for you. Thank you.
Very good.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Tom Turner.
Thank you, Lee. Essentially, there's no one thing that cures everything. But I would focus and take action on what I referred to before as people places. People enjoy being in the company of other people, sometimes at a distance, sometimes up close. Parks, entertainment venues, sports and recreation facilities all provided us with those opportunities to mix, mingle, and meet. These people places contribute to our overall health, both mentally and physically. They're worth investing in, and I believe we should invest in them. As I said previously, when owners of potential businesses enter Elliott Lake, they are looking for places to put their businesses, but they're also looking for places to put their key families and their own families. If families aren't satisfied, they keep moving. We need time. We need to focus on those people places and making them happen, and we need to invest to do that. Thank you.
Very good.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Rick Bull.
Well, I was just making a little joke with Tom. A lot of things that he said are pretty much the things I was going to say. Elliott Lake is a good place to live and work. It can be made better with more activities for family, participation at all activities and community events, and activities for all ages. And that's all I have for now.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Gary Kirk.
1 minute, huh? Well, in 1 minute. Okay, so we could talk about infrastructure, we could talk about healthcare, we could talk about a ton of different things that need doing. The one keynote important thing is for you folks to give it the thought that it deserves and put a council in place that will work together. Stop the nonsense, stop the bickering and backbiting and all that stuff that we've seen. We've got a belly full of it. We need a council who will work for the community. That's where to go. Otherwise, you don't get it done. That'll do me. Thank you.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Bruce Ibbotson.
No need to adjust the mic. Oh, maybe. Okay, the one thing I would do, first off, my platform's going to surround the infrastructure upgrades that are necessary. But the one thing, which is my hope and vision, is that we change the narrative in Elliott Lake from negative to a positive. I've had the opportunity to travel across North America and Northern Ontario, and Elliott Lake, it's not the most attractive place to live, but it's in the top 5. I visited Red Lake, to Pickle Lake, to Kirkland Lake. It is very, very good community, and it has a sound base. We have to move forward, be positive, and this is where we start with the new council. That's my vision. Thank you.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Helen Levive.
Thank you. We've heard a lot of great ideas today, but as an elected official, all of these ideas have to come together. And the first order of business is that we need a strategic plan for the next 4 years and to work collaboratively to ensure that the plan is implemented on time. We have to ensure that the community has input into the process across all age groups and that we align on the priorities. We have to identify the quick wins and the long-term benefits. We have to build strong business cases that support these priorities. We have to develop plans and timelines on when each of these priorities will get delivered, and we have to ensure as a council that we get it done. We have to put in place a strong communication plan so that we are engaging the community on an ongoing basis to let them know what's happening, what's been accomplished, where are we on these timelines, and how and what are the next steps. I don't know about you, but I would really love to know what's going on in this city. We need to ensure that we are accountable as a council, that we are going to do what we said we would do. We need to perform an annual review of that plan, again, involving the community, to ensure that we're still focusing on the right priorities, because things change. And we can adjust the plan as we need. So all in all, that is what I believe will make Elliott Lake a much better place to live and work. Thank you.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Tammy Van Room.
I didn't want us to go through the effort because my answer is very short. I'm just going to give you my instinctual answer when I first read the question. I would like to see the next council focus on getting the Arts and Culture Center rebuilt.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Norman Mann.
Thank you for the question. Obviously, it's really going to depend on who you ask. The answers are going to vary. So I asked my stepdaughter today, what's important to you? And she said, try to eliminate the goose feces from the park. Don't enjoy taking my child, who's very young, 1.5 years, with a stroller into the park, because of course everything is all a touchy-feely age. It's not fun on the stroller or hands. So that's something that someone that is late 20s is important to them. And for those of us that go to the parks and have to kind of walk oddly to leave and walk around all the two species, it's an issue. So that's one thing that hasn't been said yet.
What is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Tammy Brown.
Well, there's not much. So I think we've heard lots of ideas. I think revitalizing the downtown core, making it a little bit more inviting, is a good place to start. Also, one thing I want to address is benches. We've had so many people ask, why are there no benches at the bus stops? No coverings. We need benches and coverings at the bus stops. We have a lot of people that rely on buses, and with the weather getting cold, they can't be standing out there and just not have anything. So I think that is one of the first things, amongst everything else that was said, but I wouldn't repeat that. But in just brushing up our downtown core, that bench that we have at the corner by the Credit Union Bank, we should have those everywhere. They're inviting, it looks good, and I know when I drive by, it makes me happy. So why don't we have them everywhere else in this community? Thank you.
I'm just going to take an opportunity right now. We did have mayoral incumbent Dan Marchesella scheduled to be here this evening, so he has sent along his answer. He says, "Hi Olivia, thank you for the opportunity. Please share with the group my regrets as my children have tested positive for COVID. Although I have tested negative, to be safe and responsible, I will refrain from interacting with groups of people for the next few days. Please accept my short answer." So Susan, time me, please. The question again, what is the one thing you would do to make Elliott Lake a better place to live and work? Dan's answer is, although I do not believe there is just one thing that can answer this question, I believe there are many interconnected pieces of the puzzle that can contribute to making this community better to live, work, and play. The first would be ensuring all future endeavors meet the city's age-friendly action plan with a lens on an 880 concept. Is it good for all age groups? If not, can we ensure to create an equilibrium that when we do something for seniors, we do something equally beneficial for families and children? But the major connecting dot between economics, housing, industry, tourism, and overall community well-being is to continue to invest in ourselves and our assets for continued growth. And I would also like to share a message from incumbent councillor, now mayoral candidate, Chris Patry. Due to an extremely busy scheduling conflict, I am unable to attend this evening's Meet the Candidates event. The next scheduled events at the venue, I will be in attendance. So we'll move on to our next question. The question posed by the group is, what would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians or nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? We'll start at this end with Tammy Brown.
So I think ensuring health care for all is one of our biggest things in Elliott Lake. I think we are on the right path, but I think we have a far, far way to go. We need to market Elliott Lake to the young professionals. We need to show them the lifestyle that we can offer them here. We need to look at schools with graduating students and make a solid effort to ensure these graduates see the benefit Elliott Lake has to offer, whether we have to hire recruiters to go to these schools. That is what needs to be done, because we need to get medical health care here, and it needs to happen quick. There's too many people without doctors.
ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER. Norman Mann.
It's unfortunate I don't have a minute, because I could probably go on for about half an hour with this one. Again, very complicated issue. We heard earlier that, the hospital needs to be involved, the hospital is involved. The municipality funds a physician recruitment committee in the community. I've been fortunate to sit on that for the last 4 years. We need to continue to, again, market the community, but it changes. And over time, the original concepts of land or property or incentives to physicians is really not there anymore because everybody does it. We have to make ourselves look different, and we need to do that by increasing services available in town. The donation and the money that was raised for the CT scan is very, very important to new grads. It is the gold standard. It's an expectation of all physicians to be able to use those types of services, and they are now in Elliott Lake as well. I'll stop. Okay. If there's any questions about physician recruitment and things after, come and find me. I can go on for hours. Thank you.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Tammy Van Roon.
Would you just grab the mic, Tammy?
Speak once and you're on your own after that. Basically what Norm said, healthcare is a provincial responsibility. As far as recruitment goes, I think it would be helpful to have some out-of-the-box new ideas, and I do have one. Maybe Norm can confirm if it's been tried or not. As a fourth-generation military brat, I can tell you that a lot of military personnel that are medically trained do retire early, or get out, as they like to refer to it. Such as my dad did. He was 43 years old when he retired, moved to Elliott Lake as a physician's assistant, and he did go back to work. So I think maybe those types of unique, out-of-the-box ideas for recruitment might help. Thank you.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Helen Levi.
I have been extremely passionate about healthcare, both in my professional life for the last 20 years and my personal life. There have been a lot of good discussion points made by the members of our community, suggesting ideas on attracting more healthcare practitioners to Elliott Lake. There is merit in these discussions, which should be further discussed with the community and key decision makers in healthcare, with the goal of developing a holistic plan that can be integrated as part of the strategic plan that I spoke about. The plan needs to include what is required for them to stay for the long term as well, because we don't want people coming here just for the short term. I do have several ideas on this topic, but I don't have all the answers. This is a very broad discussion with multiple factors involved. The shortage of physicians is a national issue and there is no quick fix. I do think that collaboratively, if we work as a community, we can come up with ideas and implement a plan that will help us to get more doctors and healthcare providers in our lake. Thank you.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Bruce Ibbotson.
Well, I've taken action. I've been appointed to the Board of Trustees for the St. Joseph General Hospital. I sit on that board. I will echo Norm's statements about the Physician Recruitment Committee. They're an active committee. Our doctors are aging. We need to have replaced both ER doctors and family physicians. And the one point that we haven't mentioned to date, or yet, is the fact that immigration, we should be looking into other other countries, immigrating folks from, most recently, Ukraine, Afghanistan, but anywhere, bring them to Elliott Lake and have them live and work here. The top 3 items, I want to mention this before I forget, why people don't stay here, or doctors don't stay here in Elliott Lake, is there's a lack of airport service. They feel isolated. The lack of waterfront property. That is important to doctors. They want to have that location on a lake. And they feel that, unfortunately, it's not family friendly, the lake. Lack of arts and recreation properties. So anyway, that's something for you to think about. And those are parts of my platform. Thank you.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physician, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Gary Kirk.
When I spoke to Jeremy, who's the CEO of the hospital, he told me he was concentrating on Western Canada for recruitment, doctors, nurses, all that. While we're at it, I spent some time on the East Coast. One of the things that I've suggested to him is he retarget to that area, Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland, all that, New Brunswick. They suffer from a lack of imaging, diagnostic equipment for their patients. They're tired of losing their patients because you can't get in to see a specialist, because you can't go in until you've been through a CT or whatever. So I've suggested he retarget to the East Coast because that is a concern there for medical doctors. Bruce had a great idea, connecting with our MP, talking about the immigration aspect. We can't control that from Elliott Lake. But I mean, maybe there's things that we can do. No matter what we end up doing, it has to be done through the hospital. There has to be an open line of communication between the city and the hospital. I mean, most of us here, if you ended up picking up a tab for some young kid coming through the medical community and you're going to pick up his education bills, if you would commit to us long term, most of us would do that. It can be done. It's not only doctors, it's nurses, it's pharmacists, hell, maybe even use a new vet. It depends on how far you want to take it. But it is important, and communications on this with the hospital are primary. Thank you.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Rick Bull.
The city is already working in conjunction with the hospital through the physician recruitment program. And if you look on Facebook, you might have seen that I repeated it before, that there are 2 people, medical professionals that are coming to town. So it seems to be that the recruitment plan is working. And another suggestion my mom had, who just moved from Toronto, is to have a walk-in clinic. I don't know how that would work up here, how feasible it is, but that would be something that, especially a lot of people from down south are used to being able to go and get to a walk-in clinic and get treatment or whatever help they need. So that would be something I'd be willing to look into. Thank you.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Tom Turner.
Thank you. Well, there's limited options for us. Did you know that the number of doctors servicing our community is actually limited by administrative health? So our activity dedicated to doctor recruitment is essentially doctor replacement, okay? And we can surplus or get a bonus out of that if we get medical students in here. We have 2 third-year students who just came in. I met them at a recent welcoming dinner, and we have a new doctor here. So the efforts of the physician recruitment team are paying off, right? Now, can we get everyone a doctor tomorrow? It's just not going to happen, okay? We have to negotiate with Minister Cuts to try and make that happen. We expanded our healthcare attempts here by negotiating with Family Health Team to create the virtual clinic. Now, as a result of COVID and transfers, etc., it's not working that well. But now we're shifting the focus onto a walk-in clinic, and the attempt would be to staff it with nurse practitioners, similar to what Danny Van Moon was suggesting. Physician's assistant in the military is the same thing as a nurse practitioner, and that may serve their purpose. I'm done. Thank you.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Geraldine Robinson.
My answer is simple. I would work to establish a walk-in clinic.
What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Mike Thomas.
Well, we've heard the short answer 3 times, walking clinic. I advocated for it 4 years ago. Several of these people have worked on it for decades. If you read what I said in the plan, I think we should expand on that to keep people out of the emergency room through a community health services review. And my points is not just do physician recruitment, but to create a community medical service review advisory committee. And how we can do that is look at recruitment and retention of all disciplines that will keep you out of the hospital, community health. Define the needs of all citizens, Generation X, Y, and Z. By looking at what the children's, families, seniors, and people with disabilities need, and the people in low income. The strategic plan that is continually being mentioned should be in place for the programs that assist aging in place, palliative care, and hospice. We need those here that will keep us out of the hospital. And then after we get out of the hospital, it'll take care of us so we can stay here. Thank you.
The same question was posed and answered by Dan Marchesella. What would you do to ensure all citizens of Elliott Lake have access to physicians, nurse practitioners without having to attend the ER? Dan answers, currently we have a physician recruitment team that is supported by the city and partners. At this time, all new recruits are replacing retirements, but in the future we will overcome that battle. We have a new doctor starting this month in which the city covered the $100,000 signing fee. We also have constraints as senior government has a set number of doctors they will allow to practice in our community. That being said, during this term of council, we have had supported a virtual walk-in clinic. I want to see this turned into a real-time walk-in clinic run by nurse practitioners. This will cost extra, but it is the only way to relieve stress on the hospital's ER, and I am in full support of helping the family health team through this transition. On a side note, those wanting a local doctor must give up their current doctor and be put on the roster list with the family health team. This will likely be our final question for tonight. Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new arts center and theater? Let's start right in the middle, Gary Kirk.
Elliott Lake has a massive arts community. I mean, it encompasses so much. I mean, it goes music, it goes through music into every difference on it. You need a place to gather. You need a place big enough to encompass it and to allow, you know what, this goes beyond hobby. This is a lifestyle choice for people that are here doing this. The Pearson Center coming down was a mistake. Tearing it down was a bigger mistake. I mean, my God. And now we're playing around with reel-to-reel, which is not going to satisfy either the arts or the museum community and everything. Yes, by all means, we need a significant investment in the arts community and a building that will hold it, accommodate everything, allow the room to grow. If you follow the path that we hope to follow, Elliott Lake is supposed to be growing. You're not going to patchwork it with reel-to-reel. This needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new arts center and theater? Rick Bull.
Yes, I do. I'm very strongly in support of them. When I worked for the parks and we looked after the Civic Center, I got to meet all the wonderful people that worked there, Murray Finn, Linda Finn, and all the other art groups that did the kiln, the weaving, whatever was in the theater, the Ariel group that did the shows, all the concerts. I got to know all those people. They were very hard workers to make everything work there, and they deserve to have a place to put on their shows and do their work, and for all of us to enjoy. Thank you.
Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new arts center and theater? Geraldine Robinson.
Yes, in a public meeting, Mayor Margisella said Elliott Lake deserves a quality facility. Council's Band-Aid solution is to spend $4 million to upgrade a 60-year-old, 6,000 square foot reel-to-reel with no parking. I believe that we should spend the money and have a decent art center for all of Elliott Lake.
Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new arts center and theater? Tammy Brown.
The current location is not feasible, not long-term. It's merely a Band-Aid. Our community is based on art and tourism. The current location is going to cause many issues moving forward. It's going to cause capacity issues, parking issues, and mobility issues. We don't always need an over-the-top building. But if we plan our funds better, then we could have an arts hub and we can have a theater. We just have to learn how to plan better with the funds that we have and not look to build a $30 million hub or complex or whatever it may be. This will give everybody in the community a little bit of what they want, but I do not think that it's feasible long term. I think it's just merely a Band-Aid and we're just wasting money right now.
Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new arts center and theater? Norman Mick.
Thank you for the question. For those of you that watched that meeting that night, you know fairly well that I did not support what was going on. So yes, I do support the arts community. I don't believe the vision of that new facility is lost. It's going to take some work. I think what's happened for the funding piece to go into the Lake Theater it'll never be real to me, it'll always be the Lake Theatre, we apologize. I think it's good as a short-term solution, but long-term it is not. I do not support the museum going in there, and ultimately, I never wanted to buy 151 in the first place, so therefore there should be no parking for the new art center downtown. And I was dismayed to see the for sale sign on the highway last week on the original Civic Center site. So yes, I support the vision.
Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new art center and theater? Tammy Van Groen.
I'm going to echo a lot of Norm's comments, but on top of that, I'd like to see the Welcome Center, the museum, the theater, and the Arts and Culture Center on the location at the Lester B. Pearson Center, where it belongs. As a real estate broker, I can tell you, my office is directly across from where the Arts and Culture Center was. All I saw happening over the 10 years my office has been in that location is the traffic grow and grow and grow and grow. And this is a direct result, in my opinion, of the growth that we have been seeing over the years in our arts and culture community. So I do think that it needs to be a proper build. I don't think the theater location is adequate for many reasons. I do talk about it a little bit on my website if you want to know more. It's tammyvanron.com. Thank you.
Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new art center and theater? Helen LaFave.
Thank you. Well, I can offer you my personal opinion. I am a huge advocate of the arts community. I'm a musician, I am an artist. But if I was elected as council, I would have to do my due diligence. As part of this process, all of the candidates were given a presentation from Ariel talking about the new art center. I looked at it, it provided a lot of background history, and there was discussions around the proposal for the new art center. But to me, the proposal gave me a lot of the what and the background. What was truly missing in that presentation and is critical is how, and how much will it cost, and how will we maintain it. I have reached out to get more information so I can make that decision and gain a better understanding of the funding required. What historical information do we have around financials? What other data was used? What are the forecast projections? Do we have a strong business case to support this? We can't just assume that we can open up our purse and there's money there. We have to justify why we need it, and we do that through the use of a very strong business case. I have not received that information yet, and I am told from some of the responses that that business case does not exist. I'm a huge advocate for the arts community. We need a strong business case. It's lacking. In my experience, it's required to move these initiatives forward, to get the higher success rate, to get the funding and the grant money that you're applying for. It will remove a lot of roadblocks and will get you approved a lot faster. And I am more than happy to help them in building that strong business case. Thank you.
Do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new art center and theater? Bruce Ibbotson.
Well, the short answer is yes, definite yes. Sandy and I were regular attendees to the performances there, dearly miss it. I can only see an upside with the reestablishment of the Arts Hub Committee, and I will echo what Helen was saying, that the proposal that was sent out and the information was excellent, but the proposal background was lacking. You will not get a grant based on that proposal. So we should work with the committee, develop a new proposal that is proposal ready and will be able to go for funding. They don't give you grants based on what you think you need. They'll give you a grant on what they think you can get for it. So you have to make sure this proposal is correct, complete, and I would even suggest a third-party peer review of the proposal to make sure that it hits all of the points needed to get funding. But remember, grants are typically a third, and a third, so we should have a reserve fund, if not already established, to put money away for our share. So that's what I would recommend. And I would say, it was great. It was absolutely great.
Our answer from Mayor Dan Marchisella: do you support the long-term vision of the arts community and its established audience in the creation of a new arts center and theater? Dan answers, as I stated at the council meeting, I believe that the theater is a permanent solution for art studios, but only a stopgap for the museum, art gallery, and theater. I would like to see a new 400-seat theater with a relevant museum and art gallery built downtown, not next to Tim Hortons, as that site has garnered much interest for a future second hotel, which is very much needed. A new facility can be done at a very low cost to the citizens, and I am in support of an actual fiscally responsible plan to do so. If we could please give one more round of applause for tonight's candidates. It has been a pleasure having you here along with our fabulous attendees in the audience. The more interaction and involvement we can all have as citizens and supporters of our elected council, the more cohesive and transparent voice the city will ring true. We deserve a bright and prosperous future, as we all have a vested interest. We are all here for the same reason. We love our city, and we want to ensure it will remain the home we cherish so dearly. Thank you to everyone involved in tonight's events. Our next candidates night is Wednesday, September 28th at 7 p.m., once again right here at the Grace Christian Center. The theme of that night is future considerations for business and industry expansion and retention. I hope to see you here or on our live stream. Have a safe and happy evening. I look forward to hearing from all of you again soon, and good night.